Hi, this is Pat Duckworth, the hot woman with cool solutions and the author of the international #1 best-selling book, Hot Women Rock: How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo. And to celebrate the launch of the audiobook, I am talking to the women who gave me their stories to share in Hot Women Rock. And today I'm really pleased because I'm speaking to a woman who has inspired me for over 30 years. We first met when we were both doing Open University, and that's a bit of an indicator really of this person's life because she continues to learn and develop all of the time. And she started out, she left school at 16 with no qualifications, and then at 22 started studying for her O-levels, which in the UK is sort of basic qualifications. And then she qualified as a social worker when she was 33, and she worked as a social worker for 6 years, but carried on in social services for 12 years. And that was around the stage that I met her, was when she was working as a social worker. She qualified, got her degree at 40, and became a freelance management and communication skills trainer, which she's done for over 20 years. She's written, I don't know how many non-fiction books, we'll ask her in a moment, and published her first fiction book, Winner Takes All, in 2013. She's now a writer, a hypnotherapist, and she's a volunteer at the Museum of Cambridge. And I'm just amazed, she's just finished an MA in creative writing, and she says to me that I can tell you this, that she will be 70 next month, and she's just written her first TV script. So please welcome Patricia McBride. Hi, Patricia. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
So you went through, I mean, we could talk about your early life for a long time, but let's concentrate on those midlife years when you went off with your husband to Australia, which was something you really wanted to do. You got out there and then things didn't work out and the relationship broke down and you came back to the UK. And I remember you coming back, your back was bad, you know, your marriage had broken down and you really got to rebuild. So can you tell us a bit more about what happened next?
Well, I remember you were extremely helpful. That's one of the things I remember. And coming on holiday with you, which was brilliant. You're putting up with me being so miserable. Yeah, after my back started to get better, which did take a while, I just sort of picked up the threads really and went back to doing my training. Luckily, I was able to pick up all the work I'd been doing, and they very patiently had waited for me, and carried on doing freelance training for many years. I guess I can't remember whether I was doing my OU degree then. I think I'd already got it, and carried on and started writing more non-fiction books, which are self-help books. So things like how to do a CD, how to be interviewed. Probably nothing you've heard of, but they do sell a little still. And I'm pleased to say schools photocopy a lot of one of them. Hadn't ever written fiction and decided after I wrote Winner Takes All to learn how to do it better really. So I started doing the masters that I'm doing now, which actually is not quite finished. It finishes next month, just about on my birthday.
But you're nearly there.
Nearly there, yeah, very nearly, yeah.
And you got very interested in neuro-linguistic programming very early on. I would have thought you were quite an early adopter in the 80s, weren't you?
I was, yes. I learned it really because I wanted the communication skills side so that I could teach it to people on management courses. And so for a long time, I didn't really look at the therapy side. And it was only seriously when I decided to cut down on the training and do more hypnotherapy that I went and retrained and learned much more about NLP and hypnotherapy generally.
Yeah, and you trained with the Quest Institute, and then when I decided that that was something that I wanted to do, you kind of advised me to have a look at them as well. And you still work as a therapist, don't you?
Yes, I mean, it's very much part-time because I'm busy doing other things as well, but yes, that's right, I do still see people every week.
Yeah. And so the focus now is mainly on your writing?
Oh, I like doing lots of things. So at the moment it feels like that because I've got 3 big assignments to do before the 9th of December. But I still like to do a bit of everything, really. That suits my personality.
The other thing that you were quite an early adopter on was buy-to-let property, because when you came back from Australia, it was really about thinking about the future and making sure that you'd got a pension when you did want to retire. I'm not sure you're ever going to formally retire, but so you very early got into buying property and letting it out. How did you first get into that?
Well, I actually got into it before the phrase buy-to-let was even thought of. I realised, having a split up from my ex, that I was going to be broke when I retired, and I didn't want to just live on a state pension. And somebody just made a comment that it was easy to borrow money to buy properties. I had no idea how to do it. So I actually phoned an estate agent and said, how do you do that? Feeling like a complete brat. And he said, borrow the money on your own house. You've got enough equity. So that's how I started, and that left me then with a flat with no mortgage on it, because the mortgage was on my house. And then the bank, my own bank, kindly lent me enough for 2 small flats. So within a very short space of time, I had 3 flats. It was exhilarating and scary in equal amounts, really.
And you're still involved with that now, aren't you?
Yeah. I met my husband now, and he joined in. He thought that was a pretty good idea, and I think we have 14 properties now.
Yeah.
I'll be going to one when I finish talking to you.
So this is what I love really about your life, is that you've always looked for opportunities, you've found new things, and then you've developed the skills you've just gone out and found out how to do it.
Yeah, I like learning stuff. I hope I never stop. I think it's really important to learn stuff all your life. No particular stuff, just whatever interests you.
So that's what we're going to go on to talk about in a moment. So this is Pat Duckworth, the hot woman with cool solutions, talking to one of the co-authors of Hot Women Rock, How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo. So in that book, I talk about neurological levels. I'm really talking about using all of your brain in order to make effective change. And one of the levels in that is resources and capabilities. And I think you totally embody that in terms of all the resources and capabilities you've developed over time. So you started out as a social worker and then moved into training. I'm quite interested in that whole thing of transferable skills. What have you taken from one activity into another that's helped you to be successful in what you do?
I think the main thing is being willing to learn, to be honest. If you're willing to ask people, to read books, to look at websites, to do whatever it is you need to do. I mean, I think one skill, if I could say so, that's helped is that I like people and I get on with people. And so whether that's people on a course or whether it's social work clients, some of whom didn't want to see me, of course, but I managed to talk to them. I think that's a basic skill that underlies other things, plus the willingness to just keep going.
Yeah, and I think, for a lot of women and probably men as well, starting something new in midlife, there's that fear of having to get to know something that you haven't done before. I meet a lot of women who, perhaps in their previous career, they haven't had to stand up and make presentations. So they even stop themselves going along to networking because they don't want to even stand up for a minute to talk about their business, or they're frightened of the technology or worried about the social media. I just wonder if you've got any tips for people who feel like that, who are worried about learning the next thing. How do you get yourself to learn the next thing?
Well, an obvious answer is go and see a hypnotherapist. I'm saying that because I had a cup of tea with a friend yesterday who was doing something, and how old is she? She's 63, I think. She needed to do public speaking and she was terrified of it. So I did some hypnosis with her. And she just told me yesterday, it's a true story. She said, every time I think about public speaking now, I just relax. I just feel calm. And she said, it's amazing, because she was actually seriously thinking about not taking up a really good opportunity she had because she would have to speak in public. And just one session was enough. Hypnosis might not be for everybody, but we can always learn from other people who are good at things and think, how can I learn from what they're doing? or we can practice with a friend, or we can read a book. I mean, there's so many different ways we can learn.
Yeah, I always say to people, I love public speaking so much, I'd go to the opening of a packet of biscuits just to give a talk. But, you know, I was in India earlier this year and I met a really lovely woman who edits a luxury magazine in Delhi. And what's holding her back is that she just hates public speaking. So I took her off to my hotel room. We had an hour up there doing some work. And I know she's been doing some public speaking, so I can't wait to catch up with her and find out how it's been going for her.
Good. Yeah, it makes such a difference, doesn't it? And people who have not experienced hypnosis don't realise how quickly it can be effective with something like that.
It works too quickly, Tricia. I have to keep finding new clients the whole time. They get well so quickly.
Yes, indeed.
I worked with one client who felt that her fear of public speaking was holding her back at work. And she'd got a presentation to do the next week. So she'd booked for 2 sessions. She came for the first one and then away she went. She came back for the next one and she said not only had she given her talk, somebody else was unwell on the day, so she did their talk as well.
Brilliant.
And now she was looking for other opportunities and could we work on something else, because she'd sorted out the whole public speaking thing. So yeah, it's right. You know, if you've got a fear, face up to it. Don't let it hold you back.
Now, I had a client a little while ago who was scared of flying. So I often say, if you're really stuck after one session, come back and I'll give you half an hour free. She came back not because she was scared, but because she was worried because she wasn't scared. So we talked it through and she was fine.
Good. This is amazing, Tricia. Just if people want to read any of your books or contact you at all, how can they find out more about you?
Well, I would absolutely love it if they'd like to read Winner Takes All, which is on Kindle under my name, Patricia McBride. It's a humorous book about a sort of detective who decides to get revenge on a bloke who is mean to her. I won't say any more than that. I don't want to be too much of a spoiler, but most people seem to find it funny.
And she just happens to be a social worker?
No, she's not.
Oh, no. I thought she was.
She works for Social Security, not social services.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've read the book. I promise I've read the book. I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's winner takes all.
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you, Tricia. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you, and I'm looking forward. I'm having such fun doing these conversations. So Hot Women Rock, now available on Amazon as an audiobook. So if you want to have all these amazing stories read to you, you don't even have to read it yourself now. You can have it all read to you. So join us again next time. Thank you, Patricia McBride. See you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.